All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ben Barr. I'm the executive director here at Iowa United. We appreciate you guys joining us. Um, just for some housekeeping purposes, this meeting is being recorded so we can try and get through. This parent meeting and give you guys as much info as we can. For the most part, we have just a small presentation we want to do today. Following today's presentation, Lauren Hansen, one of our other leaders, has been working on some flyers and informational ones as far as anticipated schedule, anticipated dues, other information. We are going to hopefully send that out via email per age group following this at some point before we kick off our tryouts for the rest of today. But for the most part, I just wanted to kind of cover some of those things. We really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to do this. In the years past, I've tried to do an in-person parent meeting of kind of what's going on with things at the club. And last year we packed everybody upstairs. For those who have been to tryouts, notice our friends, the Jehovah's Witnesses, that are packing Green State right now. It is incredible how many they have here at this massive convention. I think they had 3,500 plus people in the gym or in the building yesterday. So it was hard to find some space for us to do and be able to kind of really talk with you all. So I'm hoping that this is a better way to do it. One of the things we really want to get to today and talk about our kind of plans for the year was kind of what we are for those that haven't been around United and haven't been around the club as a whole. So wanted to kind of get to this. Also, I need to remember as I start that presentation to share my screen. That is hilarious. For us, one of the things that is kind of a differentiator for us, we are one of three League One volleyball clubs or Love clubs that you hear around the area here in Iowa. One of the things that we are so excited about is they have enabled us to have a funding base and some informational guidance, just overall club guidance for us to shape the business and really relying on some of the scale things that they do. So from us, from a training perspective or from a coaching perspective, it has been a really nice partner for us to bring a better volleyball experience, hopefully to Eastern Iowa. Love as a whole has been a first of its kind community that has trying to be in several different markets. For I guess more on the player side of things, the hope is that we're scaling these things and being more efficient all the way through. For us, we've been able to cut uniform costs and be efficient by having the scale we have. One of the things we've also added is a gentleman named Sean Hardy, who ran the most successful tournament business in the U.S. called NIT Triple Crown. It's also the same thing in the basketball tournament. For those of you that are basketball fans, the kind of runner up to the NCAA tournament, NIT, is the same company. He's come over and taken over tournaments and tournament logistics here for Love, which hopefully improves our scheduling for travel. We are the largest organization in the country by a mile outside of USA Volleyball, which has no teams. We have over 70 clubs as of this moment on July 6th. The hope is that we are actually adding 10 clubs by the end of the month. I think Lauren would be mad if I said that publicly, but you guys get to see a preview of it. Hopefully that's part of the perks and the fact I can't keep my mouth shut. But the hope is that with over 80 clubs before the start of the season, that our purchasing power with hotels to secure good hotels with our travel tournaments is a real priority. For some of you, that's a better hotel is more efficient or more cost-effective hotel. For some of you, that is a closer hotel. Those, if you know, will know that I always try to stay personally attached to the convention center. I think some of those things to be close to the action and there makes it a little easier, but we're hoping that those type of things benefit both our families and our players for a long-term experience. In addition to that, we're really excited that we have a pro league that we're partnered with. We had 6 teams in the first year in 2025, 2026 that were able to meet some of our players, send out some of these things we called love notes to some of our players and talk about what they were going through positionally, some of those different things. And for us, we hope that we can better connect the dots to the 8-year-old that is graduating from the keep the beach ball off the ground and getting into volleyball to a professional career here as both a coach or a player. And for the girls to have a model of that in the U.S. and not have to look internationally or just at the Olympics that we think is something that's a really big deal. The other kind of portion of what we're able to do with Love is some of the additional things they have outside of the Iowa United package. In particular, a lot of that goes through some of the financial aid. Every single one of you, all of our families have the opportunity to apply for financial aid or those things through the Love Foundation. That's one of the really excited about that we do on a national level. Our college recruiting staff, both myself and Lauren lead that up here individually, but also some of the resources we have. Glenna Bianchin, Melissa Boyce are our two national club recruiting directors on either coast that provide a lot of information. If you've watched some of the things we've done over the summer, I believe Caitlin Smith is in the call, but we ran a good amount of camps that were a little different than maybe what Eastern Iowa has seen, bringing in professional players, college players, all the way throughout this. We've actually been lucky enough to hire a good amount of college and professional players into our ranks as coaches. And hoping that we can continue to prospect those guys. The last little bits are just kind of the global reaching of what we do for some of our athletes. We have a whole athlete training pipeline to talk about nutrition, mental health, player journals that we try to ask the players to use throughout the year. These are the things that we hope really differentiate the experience for our athletes compared to what they've gotten in the past or elsewhere. Our hope is that as they progress through this process with us year over year, that not only are we connecting those dots, but we're helping the kids arrive at what they truly want. And if that's being a professional athlete in the volleyball space or a college athlete, great. If that's being an artisanal underwater basket weaver or a professional sourdough bread maker, great. Our goal is we want to make sure kids can have a chance to reach their dreams. We are leveraging the resources we have here at Love and specifically what we have here at Iowa United for them to have a good experience. So for us, I have a hard time going through this parent meeting of what we do. This gets very sales pitchy. Those who know also know I can't shut up either. So it's kind of a hypocritical to say that. But for us, we really believe in a simple rule, and that's a one-way mentality. And for us, one way means doing the right thing the right way at the right time. There's never a wrong time to do the right thing. And we hope that we are not only requesting that athletes model that our coaching staff is expected to model that as well as our families. We've had some very uncomfortable conversations in year one with families about behaviors that are not acceptable, whether that's talking to the parents, talking about the parents, talking to or about the players, or frankly, them talking about our coaching staff. And for us to be open to those conversations, to making sure that we're enforcing those is a real guiding principle for us and how we want to move forward. While those certainly are the exception and not the rule, for us, those standards remain absolute. And we've had some really great feedback and appreciation for what we do. I'm happy that we've had a good amount of buzz and people that are interested in returning here to United. That is under the assumption that we are continuing to get better. When we talk about what we're doing, like, I'm really thrilled that people are excited to come back. But frankly, we have a lot to improve on from year one into year two. And we'll have the exact same thing to tell you from year 2 to year 3. Like, this is never going to be a finished product. And we hope our athletes view their participation in sport as the same thing. This pursuit of improvement is something we are really motivated to do. And I think that's kind of a fundamental principle of continually striving to be kind of working towards this right thing, right way, right time. For us, a lot of that is about timing. And part of the reason that we really want to do that is there's a sense of urgency. There's no yesterday ever again. And we look at that with trying to have this sense of urgency in the gym with our athletes, maximizing our time, being efficient for you guys. That I understand the cost of club volleyball. I hear it all the time, especially with the travel. But the biggest currency that we spend the most is time. You will never get this day back. You will never get this moment back. So for us, we hope that this is really being efficient with your time. We really are specific in expectations and definitions, and I'll send you guys this this presentation afterwards. You can go through this, but we don't really believe in individual teams here. The nature of volleyball requires that we call someone a team and a level and all these things, but we try to view things as one team, one club, one way. And currently on the other side of this wall, Caitlin and Emily are getting ready to speak to you all. But my hope is that Emily is not just joining here as a strength and conditioning coach, that she will be on the bench at times. And she will be on the bench with 10-year-olds to 18-year-olds. And Caitlin is just as comfortable talking to her team at 14s as she is to mine at 18s. That we are the same person to her coming to our 18s court as the stylish, awesome, amazing blue star glasses we got at regionals with one of our 12s teams that we had a great time with. We hope that consistency shows through, whether it's in social media, in the gym, in someone else's gym, or in the training space of doing that. I think our end goal of success is that we hope that we build relationships where if I run into you in Hy-Vee or Walmart or some space and you don't say hi, like, I think we should be offended. And I think that's the type of culture we want to do, where building that relationship is such a positive thing. And that's how we have great athletes like them to come back. For me, one of my other ones, as an example in this call as well, who we've hired, is Sydney Meeker. She was an assistant with me in years past to great success, and we're thrilled to add her. She's an assistant coach in college here at Cornell. But in addition to that, she's going to be here to lead some of our teams, and specifically to help you all with some of the travel and logistics that she'll take over, really getting a chance to find someone that's excited about that. And every little bit that we're able to raise the expectation for the experience here is something we're really thrilled about. On our side, we have a lot of things for and a lot of high expectations for our coaches. I personally view your interaction with us at United directly through the experience with your coach. Frankly, if you don't have a good experience with your coach, it's very rare that you will have a good experience at United and want to come back. We expect a lot out of them, far more than what we do from our players. And it is really hard for them to meet those expectations by definition. For me, again, talking about those definitions, I like the classical definition of a coach, almost a state coach, but we view these coaches as a vehicle to deliver people from where they are and to where they need to go, which they couldn't have gotten to on their own. And when it comes to that sounds a little overly philosophical for someone who gets paid to hit volleyballs at a kid for a living. But the hope is that these coaches are modeling behaviors for good humans for life through the language of volleyball. And whether that's competitive greatness, discipline, kindness, we are really trying to hope that everything that we're doing is modeling that in a way that makes our kids experience better. Choosing joy, choosing gratitude in the toughest and most difficult moments. And speaking to some of these coaches that, you know, we were crushed to watch some of these teams not be able to meet their goals of going to nationals, and yet still were able to figure it out. I can remember the tears coming from our 12s team when they had just fell one place short at regionals, and the joy that it was on the other side to tell them that they had qualified. Um, there's a lot of ups and downs in sport that you guys have seen that, but I think that all comes through having a positive relationship with their coach. And whether that's Colby with her 12s team in that, or any of our coaches here, I hope that we're constantly trying to preach and reward the process over the results, and making sure that we're modeling those behaviors that we expect. From an athlete's perspective, it doesn't drop off very much. We're really consistent with that. Not to sound like Ted Lasso, but we believe in belief, and we're hoping that those athletes can do that. One of the primary goals that we want for our athletes in their time at United is to improve their relationship with failure. I think a lot of times throughout the process of school or other athletics, we have this fear of failure that's almost debilitating towards growth and a good experience in life. But we're hoping to shift that mindset. I'm really big on acronyms, but we want to shift that mindset from a final attempt in learning towards a final attempt in losing versus a first attempt in learning. And for them to shift that mindset of there's a required amount of failure in order to grow to be at the very best they desire to be. And we hope that by committing to a process-based mindset versus a results-based mindset, the athletes see that. And a direct relationship or explanation for that for you all would be if a serve comes over the net and it hits me right in the forehead and it goes to target, our coaches should be ever calling that a good pass. We don't use our face. But if we do the little things and it isn't absolutely perfect, or we're still finding success, we can reward the process of it, not necessarily just the result. And especially when we're going to play and aspire to play against the quality of athletes and opponents we aspire towards, that is the way to really find that greatness and hopefully an attitude of gratitude. Man, I'm going to have to read off the slide. It's my favorite thing to say, but the role of the family for an athlete cannot be overstated. There's nothing more impactful than a group of people who believe in you. For us, we so value the family dynamic and what you preach to both your athlete and then what also spills into the athletes around your athletes. They are just as impactful as coaches can be. We are so focused on how families are supporting our coaches, supporting their athlete, and supporting other athletes. The ability to choose positivity in all communications when it comes to our parents is something that is a big deal, and something that we want to improve on. That part, I think, is something that is really hard for parents to understand if they haven't been a part of it before, and understanding that your reward structure that you offer to your kids is also part of the things that allow us to coach those athletes. If we win matches and we reward them with ice cream after every win, we're almost driving in that results over process mindset. So trying to make sure that we are really trying to really praise the behaviors and not necessarily the results, even on your end and even at home outside of the volleyball arena. I hope that by acknowledging that with our families, at some point almost assigning some pressure to you all, we're able to kind of explain what our expectations are and hope that this is more of a collaborative process in influencing your athletes. There's another kind of portion with our recruiting aspect. This used to be a much more streamlined process or conversation. We've got some college athletes in our staff that had a very, very wildly different path, where recruiting was an occasional mailer to the house, attending a tournament and watching you, where the entire recruiting landscape has basically exploded in the last 6 months. Our hope is that we provide people like myself, Lauren, and our national consultants to provide guidance. We have some Division I coaches and college coaches in the gym to also provide some guidance of what's going on. But these things, like for those of you that are sports fans, name, image, and likeness recognition, we're paying athletes to play in college at certain levels. There's this nasty thing called the transfer portal that's something that is dominating our sport. Our hope is that we're not only modeling the behaviors to have kids that are able to make decisions and have value systems above those very short-term pathways and reward systems, but also that we're providing guidance that still is the most efficient way for them to do those. So as part of the package here, our teams that are at our 14 elite and above will be provided access. Our elite teams that have that will have access to this, a sports recruit profile and a ball time profile. This is a little bit different of how we're going to do this. We don't know the exact execution of the ball time portion. They were purchased by a company called Huddle. For those of you who are in the high school space, you may already know my hesitation with Huddle. Ball time has guaranteed us through this next year that we will be able to have the same product. I'm hoping that it's the same implementation. It'll be very seamless. Sports Recruits as well has been a great home for me and one of my primary recruiting softwares I used when I was coaching at the Division I level. So we're a little shaky on the implementation of ball time right now, whether it'll be the same website, same login. It's something we're hoping to have some guidance on here in the next couple of months before we get started. But we know at a minimum we'll be able to, what's the right word for this? Sorry. We'll be able to deliver on making sure we have that for our teams this next year. We plan to have that go down to our 12s elite team, and then additional teams at our premier and regional level will be able to purchase that at a team-by-team basis should they want to as a parent group. Our fundraising portion that we had this year, we had two different partners, SnapRaise, Snap Mobile, and Red Wheel Fundraising. These were at a minimum of what we wanted to do. We'll have a conversation with them about trying to streamline that process. I mentioned Sid Meeker. Sid will be the home to and hub to go through some of the logistics of this to make sure we can get some responses and contacts back to you a little bit faster. But our hope is that we continue to have fundraising opportunities for any of our families so that way they're able to have a good experience and try to keep some of this cost down as much as we can. That's in addition to that we have both here directly at Iowa United and also with the League One Foundation as a whole. And the last little bit I have for you guys, you don't need to scan this. This is for a presentation when we did it in person. I'm actually going to attach this to an email to all of our families, but we have a very long family manual. I think I saw the Burbridges in the call who were kind enough to remind me it was 26 pages and 10,000 some words. If you think I'm long-winded in this call, you have no idea until you've read that document, but a lot of what I'm talking through this presentation is referenced in that document. We have painstakingly gone through it and revised that over the last, 10 years since I've been in volleyball to talk about our expectations, to talk about best practices, tournament itineraries, checklists for travel, code of conducts, things like that. For families that commit here to United and play here, it will be expected that both you, your athlete, your family, and your coach signs a code of conduct for us to enforce throughout the season and kind of explain how we want to do that and who we want to be. There are some high expectations there. And just to be very blunt with you all, we apologize for none of it. We believe that you're on this call because you have high expectations of us to perform as leaders for your daughters and for the volleyball experience. And we expect that in order to do that, we anticipate in order to deliver on that expectation, we need to expect the same out of our coaches and our players and our families. So that's kind of what I have for a presentation for you all. Like I said, our hope is to send you out some of these flyers by age group and that family manual for review today. We have sent out a few offers to some of the families thus far already with the tryout process for the ages that have been here. We plan to get a lot more out now, but we do have, I think, I want to say it's like 17 more tryouts, maybe more of that. Caitlin may know more than I do between now and July 19th and July 20th. So we anticipate that being kind of a long standing process. So the last thing I really want to do is kind of turn this over to our staff to have them kind of briefly talk with you all and kind of wrap up things before we get going with tryouts today. So Caitlin, if you could kind of introduce yourself and talk about some of the camps and clinics piece, and Emily, if you could as well, that would be fantastic.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Caitlin Smith. Helped out last year with United and kind of took over the camps and clinics role, dove in a lot more this past summer. As Ben mentioned, we had some really awesome opportunities with having Penn State volleyball athletes come in our gym, Wisconsin athletes in our gym. We had the I always say it wrong, the Louisville assistant, Cece McGraw, was able to come in our gym. So I think this really speaks on some of those connections that Ben was talking about, being a part of a League One volleyball club. It's obviously going to be harder as we get into the fall time to have some of those opportunities with the athletes playing themselves or our professional athletes also starting their season up. So I think our focus is to have those opportunities over the summer, but in the fall, we're hoping to really expand our lessons program. As Ben kind of mentioned, we have hopefully that new facility that's hopefully opening around the next couple of months for us. So I think once we have that finalized, we're able to expand on those lessons with having our own gym space. So more to come on that piece. And then we'll also have some fall clinics, some small groups, all of those that we will kind of dive into once we finish this tryout piece. But if you see me around as you are at tryouts, feel free to introduce yourself. But yeah, very excited about what's to come to grow those camps and clinics piece. I'll let Emily take it over here, who's next to me.
I'll go ahead and go next. Hi, everybody. My name is Emily Holterhouse, except my last name is going to change here in 13 days now, so don't get too used to Holterhouse. But I will be the strength and conditioning coach. We're super excited about this to add in this portion of the club volleyball experience, and we're really hoping that it can just help each athlete excel and bring their game to the next level. There's still a lot of things up in the air, but the plan for right now is for each athlete on the elite teams to have at least 2 sessions with me per week. So that could look like maybe 45 minutes right before practice or 45 minutes right after practice. Like I said, the scheduling is all up in the air. But I'm just super excited to work with the athletes because I think a lot of things can translate from the weight room onto the court. And I think that can just really enhance an athlete's play and then get them prepared for the next level too. And like Caitlin said, if you see me around at tryouts, I'll be here today, not so much in the next couple of weeks because I got some planning to do. But I'm really excited to meet all the girls and just really get involved in their lives and have an impact on them too. And if you have any questions, just feel free to let me know. I'm happy to help.
The things we have here is Sid Meeker, who has joined us from Cornell. So I'll have her kick off this as well as kind of another person to kind of familiarize you guys with.
Yeah, I'm Cindy Meeker. Similar to Emily, also expect a name change coming soon in about 3 weeks. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm taking over a lot of the travel stuff, taking that off Caitlin's plate. So I'm excited to get going with that and hopefully improve on some of that and get things streamlined from last year. And then, yeah, like Ben said, helping with fundraising. We'll take over payroll, all the fun behind the scenes stuff, and excited to coach with our 17s this year as well. So.
I love that. I think the last thing I really wanted to share with you guys, I'm assuming most of you know this at this point. It's not been that much of a secret anyway, but this is kind of the home of our new facility. So kind of giving you also some kind of updates behind the scene of what we're doing. But this is the old Pierceman building that will be rebranded to Gaithman building. We are so excited to partner with them. As I said, to provide some clarity, currently Caitlin, Emily, and Colby is actually in the other room as well, getting ready for tryouts. But we are currently sitting in Green State Family Fieldhouse. It is still a facility that we will use, especially for this year 2 portion. But we're really excited about this facility growing for us. So just off of Interstate 80, turning off at Highway 1 here on North Dodge Street, we will take over a good portion of this space here. So this space was just over 300,000 square feet of office space. We have no interest in any of this office space. There is not enough volleyball, anything that I could figure out how to pay for that. However, this warehouse space in the back is where we are looking to expand. Wednesday of this week, we are having a meeting of what we are going to add for court space. We're looking to add somewhere between 4 to 8 courts into the addition of the 4 courts we can get into this building. Whether that expands into this loading dock area or the parking lot, I will not have an answer on that for several months. But at the minimum, we will take occupancy of the building officially on August 1st. That is right, actually, when I am personally moving. I know Emily is getting back from her wedding and starting her first days here. We have seemingly a million things. Sid, if I remember right, I believe that's your wedding date as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so we're going to have a very, very busy August 1st is kind of, we're ending that high school dead week, but we'll take over that. Our goal is to keep all of our elite teams practicing in this facility and as many as we can throughout the fall. And plan to have that up and ready to go and ready for occupancy on November 1st when we really start those practices. A lot of our programming, as I work with Caitlin on camps and clinics throughout the fall, will be between there and probably more here at Green State. Emily and I have talked a lot about our love for some designing and setup and organizing, and I think she's a little bit more excited about the organizing as I more am excited about kind of the setup and volleyball piece. But we're hoping that we can develop a player lounge, a parent lounge, a coach's area, some film office space for ourselves. I know selfishly for Caitlin and I, we have talked about having like a really strong kitchenette so we can stop eating out all the time. I know my budget and my waistline would appreciate it, but we're also really hoping that this is a place for these athletes to come and have a home. You just got a presentation from those 3 athletes that all played at the collegiate level and really kind of had a hub. And our goal here is, as much as we talk about some of the philosophical things, like we are desperately trying to recreate a pro and a college experience here with youth athletes. I would love to have a space where your athletes are here for 4 to 5 hours a day. I'd love to have a space that they can come in and hang out with their friends and accomplish their homework and lift with Emily and have great practices with Caitlin and then answer questions with Sid or help her out with something and then get on the road to go home. For kids to have a home to do that and a place to where they feel welcome and empowered and believed in. It was incredible to be a part of such an experience in my past with Baylor, SMU, Iowa, League One so far. To see what's possible for these kids that frankly, they've earned the right through their work and just being quality people or having great parent systems. It's just for us that this is kind of a responsibility or almost a burden of talent that we look at that these kids deserve better. And so our aspirations here are that we can deliver on it. And I hope that's what you guys see from us as well and through the planning purposes. So one of the things that's been really tough about doing some of these parent meetings is trying to facilitate questions. And would love to kind of answer those. However, I know a good portion of our parent group was not able to join this. So my email is ben@iowaunitedvb.com. However, when it comes to a lot of these, the best one to send it to is info@iowaunitedvb.com. It goes to our entire staff that we can all see and kind of handle those things. For those that know or remember or have some PTSD for it, know that I am both long-winded in person and also via email. But our hope is to kind of talk about our 2025, 2026 frequently asked questions and really put those out publicly on our website so that way people can understand what's going on and answer your questions. So would love for you to send those over to us directly so we can answer for the entire group. There is no such thing as a dumb question. I have somehow proven that, but I hope that we can always be a helpful resource for you guys. And this has been a good experience for your kids thus far and for years to come. Thank you all for joining us this morning. If you have any questions, again, please reach out. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. And if we're lucky enough to see you at tryouts, please come introduce yourself to one of the 4 or 5 of us or any of our staff. So thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you so much.